Welcome to the home of the outrage! You're watching Smart Remarks.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
So the Tea Parties continued last weekend with outrage! Conservatives descending upon Washington, D.C. to talk about how Obama is a fascist communist who wants to destroy America! And what we need to do is elect more Republicans so we can go back to the good old days of George W. Bush or something.
Fool me once. Shame on.
Independent observers put the number of people on the mall last weekend at 70,000 to 100,000, but many conservative commentators tried to claim that almost 2 million people were there. The claim was ridiculous, but you can understand why they made it. Conservatives want to portray this movement as a mass movement. Not only did millions and millions and millions of people show up, but even many millions more at home are supportive of it. They are trying to claim that they represent the silent majority. It's not true, and in fact, pretty much the opposite is true. You know, in suburbs across America, as mom and dad get their kids ready for school, at senior citizen centers, you know, on our college campuses or nation's high school campuses, do people think that Obama's Hitler? No, they don't think that at all. I look at these protests and I think of the last time the silent majority was invoked, when the hippies were in the street during the Vietnam War, and I think the teabaggers are the hippies of today. Glenn Beck is Abby Hoffman, Rush Limbaugh is Jerry Rubin. The anti-war movement came at the tail end of a long period of liberal political dominance, and now the teabag movement comes at the tail end of a long period of conservative political dominance. The teabaggers are older and whiter, but you can boil down their message to essentially a very similar thing. The government is not listening to our demands. We represent the people. Outrage!
Trying to change the country from within. We can fight Al-Qaeda. We can't kill Obama.
You know, and it's not all the same. You know, now it's make war, not love. Then the left descended into violence, and the right has not done that yet. But both movements represented a sort of counterculture, and both took it on faith that the country was with them, that they represented the silent majority. Back in the late 1960s, that was not true. By the late 60s, people were getting tired of the war in Vietnam, but they weren't on board with the whole sex, drugs, and rock and roll agenda. Richard Nixon was elected president in part because of a backlash against all that. Now, people are worried about spending, and they are worried about debt, but they don't think Obama is Hitler or Stalin. They're not on board with the knee-jerk hatred of our nation's first black president, and they think the people yammering on about the birth certificate are crazy. The protest movement may contain elements that they agree with, yet the movement itself, the teabag protests, have become too extreme for them. And extremism is not the way that you attract the great silent majority. It's how you repel it.
What is it about Glenn Beck that's so great?
Everything that he does. If it wasn't for Glenn Beck, I think all of us would still be in the dark. He's opened up our eyes to everything, really.